The UK Government's trade union bill has the potential to cause significant damage to the social and economic fabric of the UK.
The people who are running the public services in Wales are extremely concerned that this bill will lead to a deterioration in industrial relations.
Public services devolve to Wales and that it is therefore not acceptable for the UK Government to impose it on Wales.
Where are the doctors going on strike? It's in England, not in Wales. Indeed, strike action in the NHS in Wales over the last decade has been minimal, despite significant organisational change and the introductions of changes to terms and conditions. Indeed, debate and discussions with trade unions helped to lead to the living wage being introduced throughout the NHS in Wales. If the United Kingdom Parliament wants to introduce a law on a devolved matter, they need the consent of the Assembly before it can pass that law. This is given through a mechanism called the legislative consent motion, and the Welsh Assembly will be voting on a legislative consent motion on this issue on the 26th of January. They're going to argue that the UK Government is working beyond its mandate on this issue, and they will encourage Assembly members to vote against giving legislative consent, and that will lead to a collision course with the UK Government unless things are changed.
The Welsh Minister for Public Services, Leighton Andrews, argued on the 14th of October last year on behalf of the Welsh Government, and I quote, "We believe this bill and the associated proposal to remove the ban on the use of agency workers during industrial action will lead to more confrontational relationships between employers and workers."
The UK Conservative Government's trade union bill will impose restrictions on strikes, the right to picket peacefully, and will also weaken union membership. The bill will also encroach upon the devolution settlement because it tries to deal with public services, which of course are devolved in Wales. So the Welsh Government opposes this bill, and we will seek to restrict the ways in which it can be used in Wales.
As a government, we believe this bill and the associated proposal to remove the ban on the use of agency workers during industrial action will prove socially divisive and lead to more confrontational relationships between employers and workers. The bill is driven by a flawed view of trades unions as a problem. We see trades unions as a partner. Significant parts of the bill relate specifically to important public services which are clearly devolved. It is not acceptable for the UK Government to impose this bill on Wales. The bill is driven by a flawed view of trades unions as a problem. We see trades unions as a partner. We believe that this bill is flawed and should not be pursued.
This week, junior doctors in England went out on strike for the first time in probably 40 years. In Wales, there was no junior doctors' strike. That's because the Welsh Government, the Welsh Labour Government, believes in working with our doctors to find solutions to the challenges that they face. In the Assembly, I was answering questions as Public Services Minister. The questions ranged very widely. They looked at the fact that we've protected local council spending better in Wales than it's been protected by the Conservatives and Liberal Democrats before them in England. It also looked at issues like the trade union bill.
Minister, the appointment of a Public Services Staff Commission under the draft bill is a particularly important mechanism in the context of Westminster austerity budgets and the UK Government's divisive trade union bill, and I'm very pleased that the Minister recognises these challenges. Would you agree with me that developing our public service workforce in partnership and in consultation with representative organisations should always be central to government legislative agendas?
Indeed, and obviously we have established the Public Service Staff Commission initially on a non-statutory basis. This was a proposal that came from the trades unions. Obviously we have a social partnership model of working here in Wales through the Workforce Partnership Council. I'm pleased that we've been able to discuss the future remit of the Public Service Staff Commission with that Workforce Partnership Council, which will be the primary reference body for the Public Service Staff Commission. We work with the trades unions in Wales. We don't seek to diminish their powers as the London Government does.